It's our job as comedians to push the envelope in a funny way. If we don't, then we don't know where the line is, and then the comedy is gonna be corny.
The hostess who seats you at the restaurant had a black eye.
No, boo!
Hello, my name is Michael Spicer, and I think that the quality of stand-up specials is so poor now that it might kill stand-up comedy as we know it. Hello. And before you ask, yes, I was asked to do my own edgy stand-up special, but unfortunately it didn't turn out too well.
Hi everyone. Hi, thanks for coming. So, what is up with trans people?
They're just trying to live their lives.
Fair enough. Bye-bye.
My problem with stand-up specials is that edgy comedians are being rewarded by TV networks and streaming platforms for being edgy rather than, funny. With the arrival in the 50s and 60s of television and comedy clubs, the art of standing up and being funny grew dozens of new branches, with many more comedians trying to craft different ways to make audiences laugh.
I suffer from incorrect acronym syndrome, or PBZ. Anyone can do malapropisms. It's not rocket salad, is it? When one door closes, another one opens. That's why I'm selling my submarine.
So you had the whip-smart one-liner merchants, you had the character comedians, prop comedians, physical comedians, storytellers, and people. People that started their lives with nothing, who experienced injustice and poverty and prejudice, and who could see a broken political system and brought people's attention to it. People like Mort Sahl and Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Lenny Bruce. Back then, this was edgy. The edgy comedy we have now? Well, that's the opposite to the giants that I just mentioned. The Netflix special brand of stand-up comedians that we have today are now punching so far down they have to get on their hands and knees. By the 70s and the 80s, the comedy circuit was just awash with comedians who were talking about social, cultural and political change. And it's so telling that the material of these challenging comedians that came along was just instantly diluted the moment they went to TV or film. Growing up, I had no idea that Richard Pryor was this controversial, uncompromising social political comedian. He was just a goofy friend of Gene Wilder and Superman. I didn't know that Latka from Taxi was one of the most pioneering comedians of his generation. In fact, this approach of just diluting a comedian's material and style for another media, that really hasn't left us. That's still here today. That's why most modern comedy films are really bad.
Hi everyone, Terence here with another film review. I've just been to see the latest family comedy from comedian Mark James entitled Crazy Wedding 3. Hot on the heels from his latest stand-up show about the rise of fascism in the West entitled Something Ain't Reich, James is back with another instalment of the warm family comedy about a clumsy widower. For some reason he really struggles with the material, even though it's some of the best man getting hit in the genitals jokes I've seen in a long time. I'm a big fan of Mark James and I enjoy all of his family comedies, including OMG, What a Lot of Puppies, Mr. Bloopy Buys a Toy Shop, and My Dad is a Magnificent Wizard. But there was something about the conclusion to this Crazy Wedding trilogy that felt a little bit flat. It's almost as if James has let the issues that he addresses in his stand-up, political injustice, social breakdown, corporate greed, climate change, rob him of his ability to do a really good pratfall. I do hope that once again he finds that balance between political genius comic and lovely old dad who loses his trousers more often than a grown man logically should, because Hollywood is all the better for it. Do give this film a miss though, it's shit.
2024 is now awash with comedians who haven't got anything to say, who don't really want to say anything. All they want is adulation and fame and money. And the easiest way to fast track yourself to that dream? By being really mean. And that's the irony of edgy comedians today. They're just being spiteful and nasty to elicit a response on social media. They're clickbait comedians. They don't live on the stage, they live in your phone. And they don't even really care if you laugh or not. They just want you to be shocked into talking about them or sharing their clips. That's not edgy. That's lazy.
Hey everybody, so what's the deal with stand-up specials only existing on streaming platforms to generate revenue, increase customer usage, spread branded content, and justify an increase in the subscription fee when stand-up is an art form and should be consumed as such? Am I right?
This is a Netflix special.
Oh, sorry, I meant to say, what's the deal with trans people?
I've already told you that.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go.
The clearest indication of how far stand-up comedy has fallen is the success of Matt Rife. And I'm only going to be talking about him for a short space of time because he's not worth your time. Well, it's not really stand-up, it's just crowd work he's doing. Crowd work is when you don't have any material, so you just pick on people who have come to see you. In virtually no time at all, he accumulated a massive fan base that was largely female because of his boy band good looks. So it wasn't long before Netflix snapped him up for a stand-up special called Natural Selection in the hope of enticing more of the TikTok generation to come and subscribe to their platforms. And although they were banking on more of that tired edginess that gets tongues wagging and keyboards tapping, they probably weren't banking on the fact that he was going to be a rabid misogynist throughout the entire performance in a deliberate attempt to alienate his female audience. The most controversial line from this special, although there are many, is when Rife is served in a restaurant by a hostess with a black eye. And when his companion speculates why she isn't just working in the back, in the kitchen, Rife responds, well, she probably can't cook, hence the black eye. Just for context, that's the funniest thing in the whole show. This is a new low for Netflix, but it's also a new low for stand-up comedy. This mistake can't be labelled as no-holds-barred comedy or anything goes or whatever. It's just mean and foul and nasty. The problem is, punching down is the easiest form of comedy for the untalented. If you have no comedic talent, no skills, no timing, no instinct for what works and what doesn't, then you will automatically migrate to just picking on people. Because that's the easy option. But it really should stop soon, because otherwise stand-up comedy is just going to die. On TV, at least. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe instead of being one arm of a billion-dollar entertainment industry driven by data and profits rather than, just producing art, stand-up comedy should stay in the comedy club. Because the only thing that makes me laugh about stand-up specials these days is how much these comedians are being paid for not being at all funny. That's it. Thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe and leave a comment if you think I'm wrong, and leave a comment if you think I'm right. But just make sure your comments aren't mean, because it's literally what I've just been talking about. Bye-bye.